Alrighty, and the next quadrant of the signs is going to be the 10th house of Capricorn, which is a cardinal sign. It's an earth sign. It's ruled by Saturn. It also has that oxymoron type thing going on because it is a feminine, it's an earth sign, which is a classic feminine, energy, but it's ruled by Saturn, which is a malefic planet like Mars and Pluto. And so it's a malefic planet. It's about structure, and it's also the father archetype. Whereas the opposite sign in Cancer is the mother archetype, about nurturing the self. Capricorn is about finding structurally stable conditions, finding financial security too. It's also very linked to the career aspects. The 10th house is about the career. It's when you take the 9th house, expanding, and it pulls you into the next quadrant, you expand on all your ideas you learned in the 9th house and you put it into a career form. You put it into making money. You put it into a stable, structured environment so that then you can build upon it more. Saturn is the last planet before you hit the outer planets. So that's important to realize when you think about Earth and the astronomy of all of this, is that Saturn is on the outside of our solar system before you hit the 3 outer planets of Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. Well, in order it goes Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And so Saturn is more about the reality. It's about our structured reality. Once you hit those outer planets, it is all about, God's source energy, because it's not in our material 3D world. So Saturn is like the last aspect to that of the planets in the 3D physical realm of existence. So it's very much a heavy sense of energy. Saturn is ruled by lead, I believe, or iron, one of the two. It's ruled by one of the really heavy metals because it's supposed to be something that's dense, something that's heavy, that's, will stand the test of time. Just like any kind of structural sound thing. Government is definitely highlighted here, just like during this 2020 excursion we've all been on. We've seen lots of changes with the government, and that's because of the Saturn-Pluto-Jupiter conjunction. And then Saturn going into Aquarius, where it's going to revolutionize all of these government breakdowns that we had while it was in Capricorn. So the Capricorn energy is definitely a structurally sound type of energy. It can be cold at times. Saturn is the restrictor at times because it is a malefic planet. So when it is malefic, it restricts energy, whereas Jupiter expands, Saturn will restrict. So that's where you get that cold expression is, like icy water freezing, it's coming inward. So it's more of a restricting type of energy. And then we'll move on to the 11th house, ruled by Aquarius and Uranus. And Aquarian energy is like the weirdo. It's, it's a fixed energy, so it's opposite of Leo. And in Leo, you find the authentic self, right? And in Aquarius, you're going to take that authentic self and insert it into a community, and then learn to serve within that community your authentic beliefs and your ideas and be able to share them with others. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So it is all the things that are Mercury based, but the higher octave of it. So the communication from not your neighbor down the street, but communication from angels or from gods or goddesses. It's source energy. It's disruptive at times. Uranus energy is very unpredictable. It can be very restless and unpredictable. And Aquarian energy is an air sign. Like I said, it's fixed, so that energy is very sustained. It's just like the work within the community. You have to sustain that service to others to keep it going and to help the group as a whole. Everybody has to sustain that kind of energy. So yeah, it's an air sign. It's very much about the mental abilities. It's about thinking. It's about communicating on those levels. I would definitely say that Uranus placements in charts are very significant for people that have very high intuition, or insights that come from nowhere. All of those things are very Aquarian, modalities. So then you move to the 12th house. And so at the 10th house, where you were trying to start your career in the Saturn realm, you move into the 11th house, right? And that's where you're in Aquarius, where you're making friends, hopes and wishes, all of that good stuff. Then you get to the 12th house. And that is where it's called the house of self-undoing. Because it can be a house that is illusions and disillusionment. It's ruled by Pisces and is a water sign, and it's the last of the zodiac. It's a mutable sign too, so it mutates us into the next cycle, of like death. It's very much the archetype, kind of like Scorpio, where it is an ending of things. It contains so much, but yet dissolves everything. Neptune is ruled, with the water, and so the archetype is very much of like dissolving the boundaries. I've noticed in natal charts, and when you have transits and progressions, I noticed myself when I was pregnant, I had Neptune transits and Neptune natal aspects conjuncting and opposing and whatnot, just because that was a very dissolving of the boundaries type of time for me, sharing my body with another. It was a dissolving of my own boundaries. But there can be that in lots of different examples, with relationships, or with even the relationship you have with alcohol or drugs can lead to addictions, because it's an illusion that you got this under control, and it's a disillusionment with yourself that this is the last time, or that this isn't that bad, or I'm okay, when you're not. The same with like depression or PTSD, or anything that will affect you in a way where it confuses you, and it makes you feel like you don't deserve a compassion, but you do. That's the lesson of Pisces, is compassion. It's opposite of Virgo, and Virgo is where you perfect and you purify things, and that's because the purification happens, and that's necessary for then the alchemical process of the spirit to be seen. And that is the Neptune realm. It's everything spiritual, it's ghosts, it's stuff you can't see, it's the veil lifting, witchcraft, sorcery, magicians, anything having to do with water, like mermaid stuff, is all Neptune realmed. Lots of people with higher octaves of Neptune, or of Venus's higher octave is Neptune. So when you have Venus and Neptune connect in a chart, then it's even more so of that energy, because Venus is the divine feminine. You take that up to a higher octave to the source energy, and that's literal like source divine feminine energy that is connecting you to your spirit, because the spirit is the feminine. And so that is that connection back to the self. And so the 12th house is the house of self-undoing, but it also can be the house of illumination, because if you shine the light on your darkness, it's no longer dark anymore. You've integrated it. You've done the shadow work in order to process the way the traumas in your life have affected you. Heavy 12th house people will usually have sleeping disorders or sleep disturbances. They'll have vivid dreams. A lot of people do astral travel if they're heavy Pisces signs. That's a way to like channel that dissolving of boundaries energy in a positive way, instead of with addictions or with disillusionment in relationships. It's good to find something like meditation, or practicing astral travel, or writing in a dream journal, like connecting to that spirit within, to be able to find answers about yourself and your own trauma. That is the work of the Pisces. It is the access of the mythos behind Jesus and Mary. Mary would be the virgin, right? Virgo, and then the fish is Jesus, the Pisces, and it's that same story of sacrifice for the greater cause. And it's also the same story of loss and 12th house issues like the self-undoing, you know, eventually being your own sacrifice. So that is all I have to say about Pisces, and that is all of the zodiac signs. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.